Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good wherever you are. Thank you for joining us this morning. This is Java Delight, where we start your day with a fresh shot of Java, get you keep going through the day, and a burst of energy to make sure that you keep going in a positive direction. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, May something, and we are very grateful you are all here. I love how Brett's face, May. Yesterday was Mother's Day. I hope every single person who is out there that is a mother, even if you're a mother of cats, if you're a mother of puppies, if you're a mother of anything whatsoever, even you, Brett, if you have a pet, I would count that as a as a mom thing today. I want to thank you all for joining us, and I hope you had an absolutely wonderful Mother's Day. Mr. Brett Gordon, what did you get into for Mother's Day?
Actually, for Mother's Day, I went over to my sister's house where we just bought some food, brought it over there. So my mother, father, my sister, and her two kids, and that was it. So I got a chance to play with her kids a little bit because she's got younger kids. Her kids are like 7 and 13, and got a chance to just throw the basketball to them while they were in the pool so they could dive and catch it and do that kind of stuff. So it was good. It was a good time.
We have a good morning from Joe. I never see Joe participate. Joe works for us, works with us. He is Fuck Joe from our Wednesday show. I've been on him about, hey, jump on in, say hello, say hi. Look, Joe, you're already getting hello. I love it. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. I know this isn't your normal thing, and I really appreciate that you're jumping in, saying hello, doing what you do. Good morning, squirrels, bears, and other wild animals. Joe says hello, Sherry. Sherry McQueen says, how was your weekend? Gavin Kerr is here. Ladies and gentlemen, to the one and only, the handsomest man on the show, Gavin Kerr. Ed, no rebuttal.
His microphone's not working right.
Oh, doing cardio up and nice and early. LOL. Gavin, we still can't hear you, my friend. I think that you have been muted. I have to be honest. It's been an interesting thing. Nope, still nothing. Just Gavin's. Just getting in my fitness, Sherry. Joe's gonna work us out this Wednesday. I have to be honest. I'm a little worried. I asked if I. Yeah.
Joe sent me the workout plan that he expects me to do, and I was like, I'm going to need 6 months just to get up to the point where he thinks I'm going to start.
Right.
I was like, holy crap.
Jessica's going to send you her TikTok videos, Joe. She's the one that gets me in my Care Bear onesies and works me out. I work out. So just a fair warning, just a heads up, when I am in the onesie and I pass out from being overheated, Joe has already warned me not to do this. Jessica, I'm doing it for you. Excuse me. So I want to give everybody their hellos, their good mornings, their thank you for tuning in. Gavin, give us another sound test, and then I want to hear Brett. Well, after Gavin tries talking and nothing happens, tell me. Yep, nothing. Can you do me a favor? Tell me what you did for your Mother's Day. Brett.
You're talking to me again? Well, that was what I was telling about, going over to my sister's house and doing the stuff with her kids, because it was the only place that we could really do it, and her kids would have fun, and grandma could still see the kids and stuff like that. So nothing big. I did talk to my girlfriend, who is not only a mother, but a grandmother and a great-grandmother. And I think that's so wild, considering I don't consider either one of us old enough to have great-grandchildren.
Wait, you have great-grandchildren now?
No. My girlfriend does.
Chai's mom has great-grandchildren?
Yes.
I did not know that. No. She does not look old enough, guys. So,
she doesn't, for sure.
Yes, you can, Joe. Yes, you can, Joe. You'll be able to view it without TikTok. I didn't know that. I knew she was a grandmother, but like, Chai isn't old enough to have grandkids.
Yes, he is.
How old is Chai?
Like 35, 30, something like that.
So what you're telling me is I'm old enough to start having grandkids. I'm 38.
Well, you'd have had to start a little earlier in order to be able to have grandkids now, but that's a possibility.
That I have no rebuttal back to that. That's because I really didn't start having kids, or anything. I'm not going to. So I think I don't have grandkids either.
Yeah, I chose not to have kids. I was focused on my career and things like that. Didn't have time. Knew I wasn't going to be able to have the time to really spend with the children, and I chose not to do so because of that, because I know what kind of a commitment my parents made before they decided to have kids, and I really appreciate what they did and their decision to do that.
Yeah, I think so too. Tokyo Bento just chimed in and said hello. Hello, Tokyo Bento.
Tokyo.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
All right, awesome. How does it sound?
The dulcet tones of your voice.
Sing to us, Gavin.
Ring through the air.
Lovely.
Yeah, I want to hear a song, Gavin. Sing to us.
It's too early for me to do a song right now.
Wimp. So,
yeah. I got this new headset.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead,
Brandon, tell us about what you did.
I did a whole weekend retreat with my mom. We did a digital yoga retreat. My mom actually is new to yoga, and I have to be honest, this was an eye-opening experience for her. I'm seeing crap. I never should have had Joe get into the comments. Him and Brian are now making deals behind my back. This is not going to go well for me. There's a few more people I know that right when they start jumping in, I'm in a lot of trouble. I took her. We did a digital retreat, and what was fun is we did yoga and meditation the first night, and then the second night we did. Or the second day, she did meditation, a cooking lesson, and yoga, and then did journaling. And what was interesting, somebody has an echo, by the way. But what was interesting is during the journaling, my mom literally, I had a graduation, and she calls me at this graduation I'm at and goes, "I want to let you know how happy I am for this." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And she's like, "Yeah, this is I got to talk to these people. I got to learn about how to be better." She started a group chat with her friends. They are now the Grateful Grannies. And It's been fun having some fun with my mom like that. But she really loved it. And then Sunday morning we woke up and she was already downstairs ready to go and ready to do her yoga and ready to do our meditation. My dad made her a Mother's Day breakfast and she's like, I'm still in yoga. And I'm like, so her and I got to have fun. We did it together. I took a picture of us. We made each other laugh. Truth be told, I really, really, really had a wonderful time, and getting to see my mom break out of her shell a little bit and feel more like herself was absolutely wonderful. We did have fun because one of the guys teaching talked about doing a ayahuasca session out in another country. And my mom, while we're on, not realizing we're not on mute, goes, I know you'd do that. And I'm like, yep, in a heartbeat. I go, as long as the right trainers are there, the right like shamans, I would not want to be doing it without the right setting. It needs to be the right setting. What is going on? I see G-Pa Brandon has a nice ring to it, like old Western gunfighter. I agree, Brian. I told you, I agree, Brian. Let's make this a thing in the morning. G-Pa Brandon. Wouldn't
G-Pa
it be
Brandon.
G-Pa? I feel like that's like a nickname or something, like a rapper's name.
That just reminds me of that scene in what was it? Duck Dynasty. I saw a clip on the internet where this guy, he's driving the old man, and he's got his niece with him or his granddaughter in the truck, and she goes, "Grandpa, outside sits 65," and he says, "That's just a suggestion."
So apparently they're taking a vote on whether we're switching my name. Like, all in favor of switching me to G-Pa Brandon. I'm in on this. So, Gavin, what did you end up doing with your mom?
Oh, so I went over there and I changed it. Yeah. So I knew that she was going to be sleeping in, and we were going to be missing the yoga and stuff like that. And also, she's not much of a morning person in general, so like me.
I was going to say, and you were going to meet me 2 hours ago for a coffee?
Yeah, I was awake. I was ready to do it. I wasn't ecstatic about it, but I was ready to do it, you know?
He was like, I text him. I'm like, hey, I'm on my way. I'm stuck in some traffic. He's like, oh, I'll be there in 20. And I'm like, looking at where I'm at. I'm like, I'm about like 25 away with the traffic. So I'm like, just go back to bed. Like, honestly, we'll work after the show and just have fun.
Yeah. But so she's not much of a morning person. So my plan was, and also I saw on Facebook that everybody had gotten her cards and flowers. So I was like, I'm not going to get her cards and flowers because I want to do something different. I want to be original. And so I was going to make her a nice breakfast. So, and I was going to make it there fresh. So I wake up, I pack up all my ingredients and everything. I drive over there. I tell her I'm on my way. You know, she's excited to see me. And I get there. And her boyfriend had woke up at 7 a.m. to start cooking breakfast for her. I know. And
like,
on top of that,
her boyfriend got to be better than her kids.
I know. Why is he so damn amazing? Why is he so good to her?
Right.
And then I was like, all right, fine. Well, do you just want to go out to lunch or dinner? And she points over to the stove, and he already has a bunch of homemade spaghetti and sauce cooking for later. I was like,
that's
so nice. I just ended up, it was so nice. He's amazing. He really is. So I ended up just sitting and talking with her for a few hours and then coming back home.
That's awesome, though. Like, at least you got some time. You were gonna try to join the yoga retreat, but like you said, you got there and your mom was already like in a zone and her boyfriend was spoiling her.
Yeah.
So Brett, what did you say you got into with your mom?
It could be the third time. I think you are grandpa already.
Guys, I woke up and like did not feel like I woke up, and I worked out, and then I felt like I needed to go back to bed. That's why when Gavin said he wasn't that far, I was like, you know what? This is a good excuse for me to turn around and put my head back on a pillow for 30 minutes, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
Well, I stayed awake all night, so I have not had a chance to sleep at all yet, and I guess that's why I'm still awake because I
Why did you
haven't
stay
even
up
laid
all
down.
night?
Trying to get crap together for taxes.
Why couldn't you have done that today?
Well, because today is one day later, and I got to get it to the tax person as quickly as possible. And I was going to do it yesterday, but then I actually Saturday night I went out and got some nachos, and I was like, man, they taste a little bit funny. And the next thing you know, in the morning on Sunday, I was not feeling well. So,
Brett, go to bed.
No.
I'm hearing like this random drunken slew of events that's occurred, and I know there was no alcohol involved. That's sleep deprivation. Go to bed.
Hey, when I was in the Air Force, and actually part of my ritual at times is just to pull some all-nighters doing things. Not going out and partying, just actually working.
Yeah.
So I've done that since I was in college, where you got to get things done, so you pull an all-nighter, and if you got to pull 2 all-nighters in a row, you pull 2 all-nighters in a row.
Nobody should ever pull 2 all-nighters.
When I was in the Air Force, when I was kind of a war planner and also responsible for the execution. So when an exercise, like practice for war and like for Desert Storm, when those things come up, you're awake for 36, 48 hours in a row trying to make sure that everything gets off on the right foot. And I've never really shied away from that kind of thing ever since. So staying awake is not a big deal.
Really? I think it's funny that you mentioned that you had nachos and that, because we do have Joe in the corner hiding today. He's participating actually.
On the list of things that I could eat was like pizza and tacos and nachos and beer. So I figured I could stay with
Is this your kitchen? Where the hell were you?
Who?
You.
Where were you that these were your only options?
Those weren't my only options. Those are the ones that Joe, the guy who's already set me up for what I got to do for a workout and what I'm going to eat, he told me those were the things I could eat.
Look at his comment here. He was ready. I told you.
Stay away from the salads. Stay away from those things that don't have a lot of fats and so forth. He said, make sure that you really stoke up on that stuff before you go out and try to do any of the exercises. So I'm good.
I agree.
All right, then.
You
Lots
got
of
a
carbs.
question here. Yeah. The War Planners and Executors is the name of his new death metal band. Joe says that he didn't start yet, but he was ready to say something. And the truth is, I knew he was in the comments getting ready. How cool are those new drones, Brett?
Well, the drone pilots actually, the thing that a lot of people don't know is the drone pilots, most of the drone pilots are right here in Nevada.
Yeah.
So those drones that are being flown over in Saudi or Afghanistan or whatever, the pilots are actually here in Nevada. It's really pretty amazing how that's all set up. But the mission out here in Indian Springs is a pretty amazing mission.
Yeah, I try not to be a negative person, but every time I hear about people sitting here and then flying drones way out there, I just think to myself, why don't I have phone signal everywhere all the time then?
It's a good question.
Because Elon Musk hasn't got all of his satellites up in the air.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm waiting on Ryan Reynolds to get it up there.
Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. Well, did you hear about what Jeff Bezos is doing?
No.
So Jeff Bezos is offering a charity auction fundraiser for people to be able to pay for one seat to fly up in Space Blue or Space whatever his company's name is. He's offering a chance where people could actually fly up and take a ride in the space station to see what it's like and go up and have fun and all that, but you're only going up and down. You're not staying up there. Yeah. And then
wait, what do you mean you're going up? Are you like going like to the moon or just around the atmosphere?
Just outside the atmosphere. You'll be able to see the International Space Station for a minute, apparently, and then you're going to come back down.
Gotcha.
Like, you're not stopping anywhere. Like, it's like a one
like
day.
I feel like it's gonna have to be, in a sense. Like if somebody wants to go to the moon, it's not gonna be a one trip up there. There's gonna be a lot of conditioning and a lot of training and a lot of getting used to things they're gonna have to do. Like you're probably gonna have to take a couple different space trips just to get your body acclimated to all that force that's gonna be put on you when you get launched into space to go to the moon.
Yep. 100%. I mean,
yeah.
I think that at the same point, though, that taking off, like, it just shows you how much further ahead Elon Musk is. They're already launching to the moon. They're already launching on the International Space Station. They're already landing. China has missiles. China has a spacecraft that literally yesterday came into Earth's atmosphere, and they had no idea where it was going to land. The whole world was watching and not sure. Like they had a guesstimate, but it was a very big guesstimate, like bigger than an ocean.
Somewhere within these 100 miles.
100.
Yeah,
it was thousands
of miles.
It was
oh my.
Scary. The whole world was watching like the news this weekend because of that. And it was like they literally sent something up and they had no idea where it was going to come back and hit Earth. No idea.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I laugh at Tokyo Bento's comment about China knocks out our satellites first, we're sunk. And he's 100% right. Like, if they're just going to launch like things up there and all of that, they could just easily be like, all right, let's just go right through these satellites here. And they don't give a shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, you do got to fly through those things too. I mean, there's space debris and all kinds of stuff. When I was in the Air Force, I got a chance to go to Peterson Air Force bases where we actually fly our satellites and things like that. And you see on the screens and all the space crap that's up there that's being tracked by us, so that when we launch through that mess, we don't hit anything. It's pretty intense. And then, actually satellites that are up there, they are actively being flown. So if there's some space junk that's about to come their way, they may shift the satellites a little bit to try to get out of the trajectory of the space junk. So pretty interesting concept, but I agree with Tokyo Bento. I think that it really doesn't matter. I think that the dependencies that we're starting to get on electronics is really, really scary, because it's really not that difficult to knock out electronics
100%.
on a massive scale. And those are the types of things that we have to really be careful of. Plus, the sun does it on its own. The sun has solar flares, which when the solar flares come our way, there's a chance that it could knock out all kinds of stuff.
That's true. Tokyo Bento and I are now starting a new business. It's space debris salvaging. We are done cleaning up our oceans. We are now cleaning up the universe.
I like it.
So,
I like it
guys,
a lot.
How do you feel COVID treated you? Would you say COVID was good, bad? Don't go down the path of everybody being sick or the shots or the government or Trump or Biden or anything like that. We're going to go down. We were all in the same scenario. It's not like one of us was locked down and the rest weren't. How do you guys feel COVID treated you guys? Like, do you think it went good? Do you think you learned anything?
I definitely learned some stuff about me. I'm not one who really is that big of a person to go out and just like network with people and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, well, being locked up is not that big a deal for me. But the one thing that I do enjoy doing is going out to watch people. Mm-hmm. And for me, when I'm watching people, it's really being able to see their whole face and, the whole picture. And with the masks have really turned me completely off of going out to do things, because you couldn't really watch people. Now, I will say that here in Vegas, there's a lot less face mask Nazis out there trying to keep you from, walking around without having a face mask. So you can actually watch people again, and it's time to be able to get back out there and mingle from that perspective. But because of that, I really was starting to feel it. And now I'm starting to feel like things are getting to be a little bit back to normal. So I'd learned something about myself. I learned that even though I can stay in my house and go to a party and never talk to anybody, but if I don't go out and actually watch people, then it really starts to affect me.
In my mind, the way that you're describing people watching, I just imagine you like sitting behind bushes and in trees with binoculars and like a pen and paper, it's a northeastern bloke. There he is, just scribbling down descriptions of their behavior.
White male walking down street. Does not have normal steps in stance.
Yeah.
For real. Gavin, how was your COVID?
Well, if I had to describe COVID in any way for me, I would say that it's made me a better person.
That's hard to believe. You were a pretty good guy to begin with.
You didn't know me before COVID.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Don't bullshit me, Brandon.
I know you since now. I love what Sherry wrote here. It's been the greatest year of my life. I found my purpose in life and started my spiritual journey, changed my mindset, etc. Absolutely love that. And you guys seem to be speaking from experience and picking on Brett. And then Northeast Blokes is the name of my new Bachelor reality show. So the reason I asked is there's been a recent study that came out that has shown that Americans, and it was an American study, that 7 out of 10 Americans agree that 2020 made them a better person. And here's how. According to a new survey, 74% of Americans say 2020 has made them more aware of the needs of others and more selfless than before. A poll of 2,005 Americans revealed that since March 2020, people have more often embracing the idea of neighborly love. Some examples include donated a portion of their paychecks. 87% of Americans are donating portions of their paycheck, even though 3 in 5 experience financial difficulties. Right there is something that shows fucking human nature. 87% of Americans have donated a portion of their paycheck, even though that 3 out of 5 are experiencing financial difficulties, while 41% have helped a stranger cross the street. Well, I mean, I kind of always did that. I always looked for old ladies to help cross the street. It's the only way I got a date. 38% have gone out of their way to take their neighbor's trash out, and 31% have walked their neighbor's dog. And for those who live in snowy climates, 1/3 have shoveled out a neighbor's car in the past year. In general, 72% have said they found themselves caring about the health and wellness of others significantly more in this past year. The survey conducted by One Poll in conjunction with Eyes of Hope, a charitable arm of VSP Global, aimed to discover how people are dealing with the impacts of the pandemic. It's been incredibly meaningful to see how the challenges of the last year have caused us to care even more for each other, said Pat McNeil, the spokesperson for VSP Eyes of Hope. The study validates what we've been hearing from our employees, charitable partners. People are looking to better the lives of others and communities because they envision a greater purpose after such a devastating year. Ultimately, while 2020 has been a difficult year for many, it's heartening to hear that experiences have made a large majority of us a better person overall. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
No, absolutely. That, and the reason why I said what I said is because I read the title of your article beforehand, but I do 100% agree with that. I think that not only has it made people overall morally more aware of themselves and others around them, but I think it was also one of our most productive years. If you look at like a lot of what it's done, it's forced people to sit down and work on the projects that they've been pushing off for a long time, or think of new things to do because they're not allowed to go out and about and do things. And because of that, we've had things like some of Elon Musk's great ventures. We've had this channel right here, for example, was a product of COVID.
Yep.
Like, a lot of great things have really come out of it just because it's forced people to get off their ass and do something.
Correct. 100% correct. It's forcing people to actually see outside their own realms, because we're tired of looking at the same four walls in our houses. It could sound much more aggressive than that, but the truth is, it's a positive way of looking at it. And I think that's a great thing that a lot of us should be looking into is, how did this better us? Don't look at, like Joe said, oh, you mean the news didn't, I thought the news just showed us all our divisions. Tokyo Bento, oh, they're talking about, it's called taxes. And he's right. We're going to have a lot of taxes coming up. Brett and I were having a conversation before that. He licks his lips there. And ready, I'm really going to antagonize you now, Brett. You ready? Get ready to donate more. Yes, he's 100% right. Joe, I attached the article in the comments here. I will be happy to send you a copy of it as well. But the thing is, we literally have had there's not a person in your life that you cannot say has not had an impact by what 2020 has done. I was talking to one of my mom's friends the other day, one of her grateful grannies. That's her group chat of friends. I got to name them, and they didn't like the name "My Bitches" as their first group chat. So, and that is a true story. My mom is downstairs watching, and if she decides to write in, I don't know if she will, but she will write that, because I did that, and it was quite
I believe that that's something that you would ask them. You would present.
I didn't present, I did, and then got all of the yelling. Like, so it's a group of my mom's friends that all of them have called me their son for years. I've known them since I was born, for real. They are all second moms. But I'll email after the show, buddy. I just can't get into my email right this second is easy with running the show. So, but I started with creating my mom a Facebook page so she could connect with her friends and they could easily have a video chat and then start talking grateful to one another. What was funny is creating my mom's name is Sharon Sue, and I have a cousin who's blind and has cerebral palsy. And we gave my mom the nickname Sharon Sue, shut up you. And she'd yell that from across the room. And it's just a joke. It's cute. It's funny. Yeah. It's whatever. But I made that her name for Facebook. And then the picture she wanted was she went to like a farm in the last year, and it was a picture of a goat with its tongue out. Like, nah. And my mom was like, I want that to be my profile picture so people don't know if it's me or not. So Sharon Sue, shut up you, had a group chat with her bitches, all to be the grateful grannies. And it ended up becoming so funny to them that every week on Mondays now they get together and they actually do a gratefulness seminar together. And it's like 8 people, and it's my mom and them doing it. And she literally just did this yoga retreat. And now she's like, I have so many things to tell my grannies. Like, oh my God, Bob, I love it.
That's awesome. I love that. That's awesome.
You have an article for us today, my friend.
I do.
Brett, you don't have to have an article, but you're going to have to give us something positive.
Absolutely.
So, do you have issues mowing your lawn? Not motivated at all. Don't really care to, but the city keeps sending you papers saying you need to move your lawn or we're going to evict you from your household. Yep. Try getting a sheep.
What?
Sheep versus lawnmowers. UC campus test which is better at maintaining the grounds. And you know what else sheep do that lawnmowers don't? They fertilize. Why did my screen zoom in? There we go. Sheep were grazing the University of California, Davis campus this week in an academic experiment to see if the ewes. I knew that word. It's just been probably over a decade since I've heard it.
The eels.
An academic experiment to see if the ewes can eat weeds and grass, fertilize and control pests as well as or better than using conventional landscaping methods. The woolly ewes, what the the woolly ewes are part of a multidisciplinary study to explore the possibilities of saving the campus money and resources at the same time. My interest is taking the science on green infrastructure and stability and designing it so it's interactive, beautiful, and practical, said A. Haven Kearse, assistant professor of landscape architecture and the College of Architecture, Agricultural, and Environmental Science, who is leading the project. Kearse was hired student shepherds sheep herders.
Joe's having fun picking on me and all this, and then you're reading, and he's loving how you're laughing at what you're reading too. So he's making comments now. Like, I warned you, once I get Joe in here, we're all in trouble. Him and Brian Tracy are gonna tag team on us.
That's fine. Kearse has hired some sheep herders to watch over the sheep's 3-day stay on the grassy area along Old Davis Road, adjacent to UC Davis Arboretum. I think that's how I said it. I don't know. There are sheep there in the area. Kearse is a longtime proponent of green infrastructure such as green roofs you can grow plants on and urban landscapes that are aesthetically pleasant as well as ecologically productive. The grazing sheep pilot project is a natural outgrowth of that research. She said she is bringing on the campus her concept of nature heals for health, engagement, aesthetic, landscape, and stability, and to illuminate a historical practice throughout France, and even at the White House in Central Park, and bring a pastoral setting to UC Davis, and hoping to spawn the idea for other campuses and municipalities at the grander scale. The sheep put in a full day's work from Wednesday to Friday this week, snacking from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the control and adjustment. Traditionally landscaped arc of grassland was maintained by the campus in the usual way. The grass height and condition will be assessed on each site before and after grazing. There are 4 breeds of sheep, and they're all being used for their wool, taking part in the study. Suffolk, Hampshire, Southdown, and Dorset, said Matthew Hayes, who managed. This guy's last name is Hayes. He's working with sheep. That's kind of funny. Whose manages the sheep of UC Davis. Don't worry about cleanup either. It only stays for 10 days, and it actually attracts insects that are more beneficial to the landscape. Yeah, we got a cute little video here. Let me go ahead and share the audio. One thing I find interesting while I'm sharing the audio, while I'm reading, is that there are really big weird words that I'll go over with absolutely no problem. It's the little ones that always trip me up.
It's when you see the little one and a big one coming, the little one trips you up because you saw the big one ahead of you.
Maybe my brain is still processing the bigger word.
Degree faster at Purdue University Global. With over
this is an ad if anybody wants to go to this college.
There's one for you. Start today.
We're not sponsored by them, but if they want to send us some money since they're a college, we won't say no.
Purdue Global.
These sheep munching on grass at the University of California, Davis may seem out of place. They are not. This is an experiment pitting sheep versus lawnmower.
Half of this field is being turned over to the sheep for 3 days, and the other half is going to be maintained conventionally by lawnmowers and the UC Davis ground crew.
Project lead Haven Kearse, an assistant professor of landscape architecture, says they will be examining several things in their experiment.
We're going to look at species biodiversity to see if maybe they're bringing in new plants. We're going to look at nutrients within the soil to see if they're actually helping with fertilizer in the soil, compaction, because they may be able to aerate the soil a little bit, and then grass length.
The project is starting small, just 25 sheep on a 1-acre spot on campus. Hunter Ottman is a 23-year-old landscape architecture major hired to play shepherd.
The go-to so much of the time is just a mower. And when you have, basically a species that has evolved to do that naturally, and when there's so little input required to actually get them out here, why not switch?
There's also an environmental impact. With fewer mowers, Ottman said there's a potential for fewer emissions. For Kears, the project lead, she enjoys seeing others as excited as her.
Anytime I mention the sheep project, people get really excited. They want to watch the sheep. They want to come see. They want to be a part of that.
As for the sheep, they're just happy to be munching on some grass.
I kind of want to get a sheep.
So there was a program like that here in Cleveland that they were trying to do. The guy that was doing it was a nice guy, friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. Him and the crew that were doing it, that were putting it together, they had a good idea. They had a good concept for it. It was nothing near the size of what this one was, but like that was the same concept. It was about using the sheep to actually be the ones that cut the grass. They eat it. They are able to fertilize it. They're able to take care of it. Now, there's other things that have to go into it. It's not just as simple as like you put sheep out there, but for the most part, it's a pretty simple way of doing it, and it keeps the grass looking good.
What else do you have to do other than just put the sheep out there and maybe give them like something to go into at night?
It depends on where you're at too. City regulations. So like putting them away at night, like you said, if they're going to be buying and stuff like that, they can't be making too much noise because they were in the city of Cleveland. They weren't out in the country. So like there were laws on that. It'd be like having a pet chicken or a rooster or something like that. Like there's regulations in cities, like you can have it. Like literally, it's kind of funny. In one city in Ohio, the one law on the line is on one side of the road, you're allowed chickens and sheep and goats and whatever you want. On the other side of the street is literally nothing. And they're two different counties, states, everything, or two different counties, cities, but like it's one road right down the middle of it. Wow. So you'll hear like goats and chickens and stuff like that. And then on the other side of the road, it's a bunch of angry business owners.
Yeah, how obnoxious does that have to be?
Honestly, it's obnoxious, but like when you start getting fresh eggs and you
I mean for the people who aren't getting sheep? Oh, maybe.
Yeah, they're rare sheep. The golden eggs too, I'm sorry, platinum eggs, because the golden eggs the chicken.
Actually, one of the bartenders at Hatfield's, one of the places that I DJ, she has chickens and is going to be bringing me some fresh eggs. So I'm very excited about that.
I love that. Yeah, have you ever had fresh eggs?
No, maybe. If I have, then I wasn't aware of it.
So when I had my restaurant in downtown Cleveland, we had our eggs and our vegetables delivered from local farmers. That way we could always show where the food was coming from. Nice. Swear to God, I could put you 2 eggs right next to each other. Open them both, cook them. You would be able to tell from the minute you crack the egg to the minute you taste the egg. It's huge differences. And then like the benefits you feel. Oh yeah, buddy. Like a real chicken egg that's organic, that's from the chicken's booty. Amazing.
Nice. That's interesting. Yeah. One thing too, if anybody thinks about getting some kind of animal for their yard to graze, make sure that it is something like a sheep and not a goat, because goats climb everything and they also eat everything, not just grass. So do some research. Yeah.
They eat everything.
Yes, they do.
They
don't care.
No, they don't.
And they climb everything too. They'll climb you if you let them.
Climb up on your cars, everything.
100%. 100%. So Brett, what is your positive thing to get everybody going today?
Well, I think in line with Mother's Day is to talk about Mother Earth. Ooh. And, we're talking about using sheep to to replace lawnmowers and things like that. And at the same time, they're telling you that you can't have big herds of cows out there because cows fart too much, and as a result, they put the methane gas in the air, and then
Yeah, that's
you got
bollocks.
your greenhouse gases and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, going back to the positive side, Mother Earth is actually doing things, I believe, to rejuvenate herself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that scientists don't know about, and scientists are not paying that much attention to. They're paying attention to a lot of the things that, you know, they say are man-made changes. They're not looking at some of the things that Mother Earth is doing to kind of rejuvenate herself. And one of those things I think that's happening is the magnetic poles are moving really fast right now. Since 1990, they've gone from averaging about a movement of 9 miles a year to 30 to 40 miles a year now. And with that comes a lot of changes to the Earth's magnetic field and so forth. And it's going to weaken the magnetic field. The magnetic field actually helps to protect the Earth from the sun's radiation and so forth. And I think maybe Mother Earth is actually saying, you know what? It's time for a change, guys. You guys have done some things that have not been so good to me. So I'm going to take the opportunity to do some things to refresh myself and bring that to light. And I think that that's something that when we're celebrating Mother's Day and we're celebrating who brought us here on Earth, and you think about Mother Earth, which is who we live upon the entire time that we're alive, that on Mother's Day, we really should be celebrating Mother Earth as much as we are celebrating our human mothers that brought us here. And if we do that and we really consider not just some of the things that are being publicized as creating change, but looking at how Mother Earth is actually changing herself. You know, some of these things about the melting of the poles could easily be attributed to Mother Earth rejuvenating herself as well. The poles have melted in the past. The poles have, helped to dilute the water in the oceans and so forth in the past. And a lot of these things are happening without us doing certain things to it. So I think celebrating Mother's Day, celebrating Mother Earth, celebrating Father Sky when Father's Day comes along are all things that we should be focused on as well. And, you know, it's not just a Hallmark holiday, which is really how all these got created. Hallmark wanted to sell more cards, so they created Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Sister's Day, and Teacher's Day, and all these things so that they could get revenue. Let's look at going back to the basics and going back to like more of the Native Americans and the indigenous tribes that celebrated and cherished Mother Earth and recognized that we don't own anything of the earth. We're just borrowing it.
Yeah.
And we have to give it back. And let's give it back in a better manner than we got it. But at the same time, recognize that Mother Earth is also doing things to bring herself to a better health, just like we are trying to do as we do exercises and eat right and get back to nature. So I think that we should all recognize that Mother Earth is what's keeping us alive, and let's cherish Mother Earth.
I think a lot of people don't realize as well that the reason why you should care about taking care of the earth, whether you care about the earth or not, you should care about taking care of it, because it doesn't matter what we do as far as the earth is concerned. If we really think that we are powerful, smart enough, strong enough to permanently actually destroy the earth, then as of right now, that's still insulting to the earth. You know, it'll fix itself. It'll figure out a way. We, however, will not. as long as we are here on Earth, if we continue to destroy it, then all we are really going to kill is ourselves and several other species around us. But it will eventually come back, just better and without us. So if you don't want to, care about the Earth for the sake of not caring about the Earth for whatever reason, at least care about the Earth for yourself. Selfish.
Well, and that's just it. We need to think about the Earth and what, we're bringing more generations into this world. Let's give them a world that's worth living in. Yeah. And a big part of it is pollution in general. I'm not as big a concern of the whole greenhouse gas thing, but I am concerned of pollution in general. And pollution in general is like looking at all of the plastics and junk that are out in the ocean. And one of the real eye-opening experiences that I had is I was over in Bali just before COVID hit.
Yeah.
And you think of Bali and you think of the beauty of Bali and you think of, this, the nature in Bali and the water around Bali, but there's a hell of a lot of trash all over in Bali. And they have storm drains and things that the bottles and trash get stuck in. And then when it rains, it flushes it out into the ocean. And this happens all around the world. When I lived in Long Beach, if it rained real hard, you couldn't go to the beaches because there was literally sewage that would get washed out into the ocean, and they'd have to shut down the beaches because we've got so much crap that gets into the storm drains and stuff. And when Mother Nature is taking a shower and pushing all this water through these storm drains, it just takes all of that junk and puts it out in the ocean. And there it sits until it gets diluted or until it gathers in some of these massive cesspools that we've got out in the ocean because of all the trash that gets out there. So even in some of the more pristine areas of the world, you take a look at the litter and the garbage and the stuff that gets dumped in those communities because they don't have really good garbage collection and things along those lines. And as a result, this stuff gets out there. So I think, we really need to look at that kind of stuff when we're talking about protecting and preserving the earth, is to really just look at pollution in general, help countries get better trash disposal, garbage disposal, and management systems, and try to reduce the amount that we have as well. The United States is not in the lead of cleaning up in terms of just recycling and those types of things. We do actually a pretty poor job, but we do a better job than other places. So
have you seen what they're doing in Australia with the washes and the dams and everything? They have these huge nets that so it's like a wash for those who don't know, because they might not have any in your area. It's basically like a giant rut made out of cement that just funnels water back to a main pool, whether it's a lake or an ocean or whatever it may be. So anytime they have something like that, or a dam where it has water pouring out and they have a hole there, they actually have these huge nets now that they have on there to catch all the trash. Yeah, and they're for specifically like dams because dams are typically dry, or not dams, washes, because washes are typically dry and they only flood during the rainy season. So it's not like they're full of fish and stuff like that that's going to get caught in there and killed off. They're not hurting any species. It's just to catch trash that's been thrown into dams, or not. I keep saying dams. That's been thrown into these washes, and then it gets caught in this net as it pours out when it rains. Have you guys seen Seaspiracy yet on Netflix?
No.
Oh, that's crazy. If you really want to see some insane stuff of how everybody is hurting the unit or the earth and killing our ocean without even realizing it, check out and watch Seaspiracy.
Yeah, check out some of the deserts in the middle of the ocean or off the coast of Louisiana, off the coast of these places. There's literal deserts in the ocean bottom that trash and everything, pollutants have killed off all of the vegetation. And not even the fish will go there because there's no vegetation. There's not stuff to eat. So you've got these deserts under the ocean. And those are things that we don't really address either when we're talking about. I think that, sometimes we talk about these greenhouse gases like they're the thing that we have to focus on most. And a lot of what we're doing is just overlooking that which is really very much affecting the earth in maybe a more dramatic way than even the greenhouse gas concept that they're talking about.
I don't think any of them are more or less important or as dangerous than the other, in all honesty. I think they've all gotten to a point where they're all extremely big issues that we need to be concerned about and look at them equally. And people who say, oh, this is the most effective one or this is the most dangerous one, it's most likely an irrelevant margarine of how much more effective or how much more dangerous these things are. That just happens to be the one that they specialize in.
Right.
Like if greenhouse gases is really as dangerous or more dangerous than ocean pollution, how much it is at this point is probably very insignificant. It's just what they decide to study. It's what they know most about. Yep, which is fine. Exactly. We need specialists, but at the same time, we need to be looking at it as a whole and collectively trying to work on all these things to get it better.
And all during this time, companies like, and well, I won't bring up any specific companies, but there's companies out there that are buying up all the fresh water supplies that they possibly can so that fresh water is not going to be free to anybody. They're buying up, the aquifers and things along those lines. And at the same time, those are some of the companies that try to lead the way in trying to help the earth through pollution control and stuff.
Unless you find a river, where is it really free? Unless you find a river, where is it really free? Like we all have water bills that we have to pay. If you buy a bottle of water, you're buying a bottle of water. Like sometimes like at restaurants, it's kind of a courtesy, or I guess like a drinking fountain. But even then, someone still has to pay for that water.
Yeah, but if you want to look at where big corporations are taking control of the critical resources for human living, they're buying up all the water.
Yeah. Well, so I don't want to be sponsored by Nestle, so I have no problem saying their name.
Okay, well,
we're gonna do this really quick. So, guys, we have a very special guest today coming on. Ray Coates. He is a singer, songwriter, poet, public speaker, and an actor. He survived throat cancer for over 10 years. He is passionate about creativity and using this as a means to help himself and others cope with the challenges of life, including, for example, mental health. Collaboration is key to Ray's Inclusivity is only option in his book. He has been a singer-songwriter for over 30 years. He has released a charity single on iTunes and accompanying videos on YouTube to raise awareness of funds and research into throat cancer. Could you, Gavin, you're a musician. Could you imagine being a musician and have the fear, anxiety, the pains of knowing you had throat you had throat cancer, and then could you
absolutely.
turn it into something positive?
Every time that I go to like a metal show or I like am for whatever reason really screaming, and I end up like losing part of my voice, I go into a panic mode. I think, oh, what if I just lost like 2 or 3 notes in my range? What if I'm never able to? What if I just lost a register? What if like my voice would never heal? What if I just did permanent damage doing that? So I couldn't actually imagine what it would be like having throat cancer. The closest thing that I've heard of something like that is we have one gentleman who comes and sings at karaoke who had a double lung transplant.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. He sings karaoke. And honestly, he's not the greatest singer, but he does it and he loves it. You know, you can tell that he's living his best life doing it. So any kind of damage to my lungs or to my vocal cords would be pretty detrimental, pretty terrifying for me.
So Ray is now using his song for the Voice Within project. This is a project that to connect people from diverse backgrounds by means of one song and one voice. Currently, a version of the song performed by Zoe Evans is being used to raise funds for the homeless prevention organization Shelter. This project has led Ray to come into contact with a great number of people globally, including Charles Maddox, executive producer and creator for the TV show Reserved, and current program airing on WGN Networks, America 8 Days. The award-winning filmmaker, best-selling author Charles asked Ray to write, sing, and record a song for the cancer documentaries. 8 Days. The song "Your Journey" features in the last episode and is available for download for on all digital platforms. Ray has performed as an actor in a variety of theaters, plays, and some independent short films. He has also been involved in several books, film projects, including soundtracks. Ray is an experienced public speaker and also has an album released on his CD and major digital downloads called Stores, Garden of Life. He's available for all stores in Garden of Life is the name of it. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, it is 100% an honor and great pleasure to introduce everybody to Mr. Ray Coates.
Hello.
How you doing, Ray?
Hey, Ray. Thank you, Gavin. Hey, Brett.
It's good to meet you.
Good to
doing just fine.
Good stuff.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yes, absolutely. I'm just. It's one of those strange times, isn't it? You forget which day of the week it is. Maybe that's me.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I do that all the time.
You've just reminded me it's Monday.
Yes. Happy Monday. Sorry to remind you.
No, that's all. It's all good. It's all good. They're all pretty much the same eventually. days. They're kind of They're all good. They're all good.
Yeah. Absolutely. So. I got to dive just straight into the heavy topic here because that's what we were talking about. And it's got me wondering, what was it like when you first found out that you had throat cancer?
Really, really good question. I'm going to come at it from the angle of how it felt at the time. It's quite some time ago. So that was 2008. The best way I can describe it is I knew before anybody else. I was married at the time with 5 children. And the way it manifested for me was a lump on the side of my neck. I was shaving one day. And 5 children, it's a busy life. There's a lot going on. And I think what had happened is this had grown over a period of time, but I hadn't really noticed. I just thought, it's a spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was told, I knew. And I believe I was listening to a little bit of Brett speaking. I think indigenous to us is we have everything we need within us. We have everything we need within the world. And within the medical world that we live within, strangely, medical practice is external. Still in this day and age, doctors don't listen to patients. I know that might sound a bit dramatic, but I'm just being how I felt. But I knew within me, I knew within the fiber of my being, something was going on. And I think it's nature's way of preparing you to prepare you for everybody else. Because obviously I was married, I had children, I was working, I had a belief system that I was part of, many friends, many people I knew. So I'm not saying it wasn't a shock, because even when you know something, to be told it is a dramatic hit. And I think it was what I was told afterwards. And the phrase that was used, and I'll explain it because I've used it before, was belt and braces. So they have a support network within oncology. And the nurses took myself and my then wife off into a room. And I remember them actually saying to her, this is going to be difficult for him. And I'm sat there and I'm feeling almost a little bit like a child. And I'm thinking, why are they telling her? Why are they telling her it's going to be difficult for him? Hello, I'm here.
Right.
But they then explained it's the treatment. The treatment, here's the point. The treatment is belt and braces. Belt and braces. So basically, it's torture. It's torture. Surgery, predicted at 12 hours, but I actually ended up having 4 hours surgery. And 6 weeks of radiation, both sides. I had to have a mask fitted. And believe you me, to this moment, you know, when you talk about your voice, it's so wonderful to hear you say that. It's so wonderful to hear you value your voice, because this is what has driven me to where I am now, because it's not just my voice recovery, because I went through torture, and there's no exaggeration. I lost the ability to speak for an entire year.
Oh my God.
Do I talk now? Well, you're getting a measure of me already. You bet your effing life I do, because because I can. But the most important thing for me to share is it's not just my voice. I have one voice, but I am going to use it 100%. But I'm using it to shine a light on other people and to shine a light on the connection that we all experience together in the oneness of humanity. And even now, we don't. Unfortunately, there is division, there is diminishing feeling, disconnection, isolation. And because I was unplugged from humanity, because I couldn't speak, then I know what that feels like. And that's why I'm here, not just as a throat cancer advocate, but as somebody who has a voice and knows what it's like to feel voiceless. So I'm here to amplify the voice of others. That's what I now feel is my divine purpose.
When somebody goes through something extremely traumatic like that, they seem to have a part of them, not physically but internally, die and then be reborn out of it. What do you, and I can tell just by talking to you, like that was one of the first things that I picked up, was there was a lot that died inside you during this. However, a lot has been reborn from it. What do you think was the biggest change in your mentality throughout an entire year without speaking, without being able to properly or regularly communicate with somebody? Like, what was the biggest mental change for you?
Wow. Again, I'm not saying it just because you're the person sat there asking the question and making the comments. That is very, very profound, and you are 100% correct. I have written lyrics for my entire life. I've written poetry since I was about 7 or 8. I've no doubt you write too. Yeah,
I do. All the time.
Yeah, I bet. And for 2 years after throat cancer, I didn't write a single word. Apart from, I had a notepad, and I had a notepad that said, you know, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, or, you know, a message, because I couldn't speak. But in terms of lyrical content, creativity, I had absolutely nothing. And now this is where it's a different challenge. It's a lovely challenge. It's a beautiful challenge. It's a wonderful challenge. Because now every single breathing moment of my life, every moment I awaken in the morning, I have access to a divine source of lyrical content. And I mean that. And I'm getting some words and I'm getting some messages coming to me that are absolutely beyond me. So my challenge now is to keep up with the flow. Because you are so right. Because even before that period of time, I didn't write. As a teenager, I was offered a record contract, and they said, we want you to write 10 songs a week. I was too busy with girls. I was too busy with, you know, all of the lovely, wonderful things that I wanted to enjoy in life to take that seriously. And I didn't. And I kind of let that go. And then I went off into another life, and I got married and I had children, etc., which I don't regret one moment. But now, because of what I've experienced, I now know why I'm on God's earth 100%. And what's happened is from the loss has come the abundance, the more. And that's not just my experience. I've seen it with others. I'm attracted to individuals who have turned their weakness into their superpower. And it's an ironic thing, even in, you know, some of the best kind of Marvel, DC universes. It's often the case, isn't it? The person, you know, their
Yes.
weakness becomes their strength. And we, genuinely, I mean this, we are living, breathing as human beings, examples of our weakness becoming our strength. And for me, that's manifested itself within a prolific creativity. You know, I'm writing so much that I can't keep up with myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a pleasure to meet you, Ray. Sorry I introduced you and then I ran
Brandon.
away.
Cool.
My,
No, that's
my
good.
coffee, I've been working out and I had coffee this morning. All of a sudden, I'm like, I got to read this and run. I will be back in a minute. So I was like, I was so glad I had these two here to run. And then you get the people coming in. They're making fun of me being the bald guy backstage. And then they realize, oh, wait, I'm not the only one.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said it because I felt it. I thought we kind of represent almost like that Who's Who game. And I think,
yes!
I think you and I are the last.
Does the character have a beard?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We're the ones that are confusing to people. They're like, well, wait, they're both bald and beard.
Is your character wearing earbuds? Like,
yeah. I'm the more mature version. I'm the more mature, sort of the older. I wouldn't say mature.
Yeah, the Pokemon evolution.
I'd give you the mature one. Trust me, you'd be the mature one of the two of us.
Yeah.
Substitute that for older.
Exactly, mature. So, Ray, I was listening the whole time. You have done a lot of great things. And I mean this in the way that, like, you've been through hell, and instead of looking at it as hell, you turned around and said, you said, yeah, I'm going to make this what I'm proud of, who I am. But in that moment, it's dark, it's alone, it's quiet, you can't talk. And to get the writing out can be an outlet. Would you say that became your outlet? Or would you say that actually, like, you needed to do something more for you, and that's what ended up becoming of it because of being silent? I can't be quiet for 5 minutes, so trust me. If I had to not talk for a year, I think everybody in the chat would be like that's not happening. He's going to find a way to talk to people.
Oh, you've got a match in me, my friend. You've got a match.
I love it. I love it.
I think a couple of things you said there. For me, not immediately. So the darkness was a good few years. Now, retrospectively, when we look back on things in life, often that's when we can see, you know, where we were, what mattered, and what we've grown into. Now, life is lived for others, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It definitely can be a bad thing at times. And I think a lot of things I was doing, which is a slightly different subject, was living life for everybody else. And I'm not saying I was 100%, you know, selfless. I was not, you know, selfish. Of course I was, because I'm a human being. But I was very much trying to make everybody happy. And me being the creative soul that I am didn't fit in with the life I was living at the time. And that's kind of that's quite a big topic as to why. But for everybody else, it didn't work. In the last couple of years, and I'll choose my words carefully because I don't know, you know, the demographic of your audience as well. And that's the only reason. But you can, again, substitute certain words. And believe you me, I'm quite colourful in my language. I don't give a flying anymore.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because if I'm less me, how am I going to help others be more them?
I love it.
So
exactly.
by becoming more me, I'm now in a far, far better position to help others to be more them. I've walked through my pain. I've gone through my pain. I've done me. I'm not saying I don't experience pain anymore. We all do. It's part of being human. But I now feel, because of that elevation, I am now here to create a voice for as many as I possibly can. And that's why I'm starting to write a little bit more in the kind of content that I'm beginning to, touching on subjects like the earth. I've got an album coming out in the autumn, and it was fascinating listening to Brett. And one of the songs on the album is called Mother Nature's Embrace. And it's basically the thought of Mother Earth holding her arms around us. Now, that was written in collaboration with somebody else, because I'm a lyricist. But what I've done is I've opened up the world to people who I believe is everybody, to allow them to connect with me, for them to create. So I'm still producing musically, still singing, but I'm joining with others for them to create the words. And that creative process, we are here to create. We are here to create. Yeah. That's one of our main purposes for being alive. So I now feel I'm reaching out to others and creating that unified voice for and with others. Sherry's in the album. Sherry McQueen just made a comment. Sherry and I have one-to-one written a song. Yeah. Sherry and I and 5 others from all over the world. So Sherry, Sani from Australia, Caroline, Sue, and myself in the UK, Michelle from Canada, Rayanne from America. We got together in a Facebook Live and we created a song that is now released on all platforms and download and streaming, called Our Connection. And the song basically is a theme to connection, connectivity, oneness, being together. And it's written by 6 lyricists from all over the world. So that's one of the things I'm working on.
I absolutely love that. You said it's Our Connection, correct?
Our Connection.
Yes. Where can we find it?
It's on YouTube. I work with a distributor called TuneCore, and they distribute to all platforms: Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. There's a YouTube link so people can listen to it without having to pay for it. Obviously, it's lovely and wonderful for people to download. That's incredible. But I want to do just one shout out if I can. I've done a little shout out to co-lyricists.
Absolutely.
I am looking for the opportunity for this song, because this is where I really feel it sits 100%. It was written during lockdown, social distancing, disconnection, isolation. I'm going to make this brief. My family, and I'm not going to be gender specific. I've got 5 children, 3 daughters and 2 sons. One of my children has gone through mental health anguish, and not just one of them, a couple of them, because of what we have lived through. And that's just me giving my personal experience. The world has gone through, and diseases have been forgotten. Some diseases have been forgotten. Mental health at times, sadly, has been forgotten. Yes. This one disease has taken over the conversation of every single person on this planet. So, Our Connection is a song that celebrates connection. And I reach out to a company, a communications company potentially, to take on this song as an anthem, because it was born from disconnection, isolation, lockdown. And 7 human beings got together and found a way to connect throughout the world to write a song. And I believe it has a lot of power just within that. Just within that.
Yeah,
absolutely. If it did end up becoming an anthem of sorts, and you could choose one celebrity to be a guest vocalist on there with you, who would you choose for the re-recording?
That's a fantastic question. There it is. That's a brilliant question. And if I'm honest with you, when the offers came, this might sound a strange answer, because I'm not going to give a specific name. There's a lot of artists that I respect and love the sound of, but I would want to know a little bit more about the background of their ethics and their value of life. And I don't mean
that's fair.
How it sounds. There's a lot of people who produce music who there's in any business, you'd appreciate this, Gavin. In any business, there are people that do it just purely for the money side of it.
Absolutely, yeah. There's
And
definitely a
there are people,
publicity aspect.
yeah, yeah. Now, I'm not interested in that. I'm not. You know, I'm interested in somebody who has a world consciousness. So therefore, if I'm honest with you, there's not one particular artist who's jumping out to my mind at the moment, but I would reach out and welcome whoever that might be. There are some people that I believe that have good ethics and have a positive view on life, but I'd want to kind of know that person a little bit more. And that's the same with everything I'm doing. I'm not against pop culture. I'm not actually against pop music. I don't mind anything I do. I don't mind it being popular. That's fine. But for me, it creates what it is I want to do. I'm at a different stage of life. I'm launching a music career effectively, you know, quite late on in life, which is fine. But I want to make a difference. I don't want to just make music. I want to make a difference. So if there's somebody who wants to make a difference, then I want to get with that person.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'd say, I mean, I don't need to
There we
tell
are.
you, you already know this. If you want to make money, then music is not the industry to be in.
True, not directly anyway. There are ways of doing it,
Yeah.
but yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am
it's
aware
real
of that.
interesting.
It's tough work. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely it is.
No, I was just wondering, you know, going kind of tying everything together. You had spoken about not really using your voice before you had the cancer. You were paying attention or trying to be something to everybody, but not to yourself, and not using your voice for yourself or to help in that respect. And to a certain extent, you know, that energy may have gotten caught up in the throat, right? And it actually shut you down.
Yeah.
To then bring that up and give you that voice back in a way that you can express it. You know, cancer is an expression of something that's already inside us. And usually it's an environmental thing that oftentimes brings that cancer out. And they call it expression. Well, you've kind of turned this whole thing around from something that expressed itself in this manner to then enabling you to express yourself to the world in a totally different way and generate that energy then that can spread around the world and hopefully help people to get their voice so that it's not held back in their throat.
Yeah.
Totally.
100%. So
Totally.
with that being said, like you've written, you've been able to get this back out. What would you say was one of your biggest challenges? And I mean, obviously having the cancer and having it there and not being able to talk, but you mentioned your kids having mental health and having the problems and the struggles they've dealt with and the journey they've come through. Your mental health had to be a big factor during that time. How did you keep yourself going to be a motivator for your own kids?
I think best way I can describe it, because it's just come to me, I shoot with the heart, with the gut, is if you're in a fight, I never have been. I'm not somebody who kind of gets into conflict. I will defend myself if I need to. I have the strength to do that, but I avoid it if I can. But I'm just imagining if I were in a fight, the blows are raining down on me. The punches are coming towards me. That, in a way, is my first point of consideration. Because if I'm then going to protect anybody else, I have to get free of the grip of that individual who is, fighting against me. And that's one of the best ways I can describe how it felt with cancer. Because at the time, that's why they said it's belt and braces. That's why they took my wife at the time to the side and said this is going to be tough for him. Because I had to battle, one-to-one, arm-to-arm, face-to-face, toe-to-toe, with that enemy of cancer. That lasted for many years after. And the difficult thing is, and I hold my heart out and I hold my hands out to anybody who goes through it. Cancer is an extremely lonely journey. And even if you have people around you, you're effectively on your own. And I'm just going to say this, and it's not, I've lived it, I've healed from it, I've gone beyond it, but I'm hoping this may prove of encouragement to others. I went through cancer, marriage breakdown, and the death of my father, who I hadn't seen from the age of 5. So I hadn't seen him for 38 years, all at the same time. So when I came out the other side of those things, I'm going to use the word, I think it's an accepted term in America. When life shat me out the other side, so then it took a while for me to clean myself off effectively, and took a few years for me to get to where I am now. I've worked with some incredible human beings as well, and I'm going to give a shout out to a couple of people now. My coach and mentor, Rebecca Adams. She has done a tremendous amount of work with me over the last couple of years and continues to. My partner at this moment in time, Michelle Roach, we work together. Phrase she used when we were together, she said she doesn't use the term bless you. I've got nothing against it, but she doesn't use the term bless you, because she says, I don't want you to be less you. I want you to be more you. Mm-hmm. Now, those phrases, those moments where we just say a string of sentences together, I am going to say now, that was life-changing for me. Because I had a human being who I was getting to know who said, Ray, be more you. And she still says it, which is incredible, because I know me. Yeah. So I look at it and I think, wow, thank you. You're encouraging me to be more me. Rayanne's here, I've noticed as well. Rayanne has gone through her own journey of voice loss. And she'll be okay for me to share that. She's finding her voice, and we are getting together creatively, potentially with the right backing, the right support, which again, Gavin will know here. We're looking for people to come with us, get with us, invest in us, in what we're doing. Yeah. There's the potential of an album that's a spiritually awakening album that is absolutely phenomenal. The songs are beyond anything I've produced at this current time. The energy of it is just, wow, it's amazing. So what am I saying to you with all of that? We're collective parts. So I went through that darkness, that valley of darkness, that valley of mute. I was on mute, self-imposed mute as well. Brett said, and Louise Hay says exactly the same in one of her books, cancer gravitates sometimes to where that lack in us is. And for me, I'd allowed others to nullify my voice, and not necessarily for bad reason. Nothing against those souls, nothing against those individuals. That's what I'd done. I'd allowed that. Now, nothing will stop me. The only thing that will stop me, of course, is the enemy of all of us, the end of life. Because I feel it's so important. I don't actually have a choice. I have days where, I create and I put stuff out and I think, why are people not getting this, or why are people not interested in this? Yeah, I know you get me. Yeah. Why are people not connecting with this? Yeah. But I get the other side of that, because I think this is beyond me, and it's a phrase I use a lot. It's beyond me. I don't actually have a choice.
Yes, I can tell just by talking to you and listen to how you talk, you have a very, very good grasp on what it means to be alive and what it is to live a fulfilling life, because in a sense, you have died before you died. Therefore, you are able to truly understand how to live. You don't know what you have until it's gone, and you have, in a sense, have had it all taken away from you. It has been gone. So I want to know, how has this experience for you really changed your relationship with death?
Wow. I want you to put that in a message to me, because I don't ever want to forget that. You died before you died. That is exactly it, word for word.
Yeah. I'll put it in the private chat for you.
No,
here.
Please do, because I don't think I will forget it, but that is powerful. That's extremely powerful, because that's exactly what it is. I went to being an old man. I could hardly walk. I couldn't eat. I couldn't breathe very well. I couldn't speak at all. and life was just about creeping and, you know, getting by. And, you know, I just felt I couldn't get up the stairs. I couldn't do anything. And then there was a resurgence of life. And the interesting thing, without kind of going into too much detail, it was a resurgence of life for me at a time when my marriage was breaking down. And I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of power. And even more so now because of what I've experienced. So I'm not afraid. But I am very, very acutely aware of the diminishing resource that we call life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't possess my every thought. I get annoyed when I'm in a queue of traffic, or I get annoyed at myself. But then I get annoyed at that. So there's a kind of thing that kicks in that says, wow, Ray, you know, come on. You know, you've nearly died. And I was told 2 months away from death, basically without the treatment that was prescribed. So the kind of cancer I had would spread through my entire body rapidly. So it doesn't possess my every waking moment. I still waste time, you know, and I think in a way it's not really, because, you know, anything we do isn't a waste of time. We're creating even when we're sitting still and doing nothing.
Yeah.
So what am I saying by that? I just have an accelerated desire, which is the challenge. This is now the challenge for me. The challenge is not this. The challenge is I've got so much stuff that I want to do, and reach out and key other people into that. Not grab people by the scruff of the neck, because that doesn't work, but just say, what matters? What matters? What's really important? And that's actually a journey many other people have been through. You know, when you kind of, you know, you get to that end of life potential, everything starts to become a lot clearer as to what actually matters.
Absolutely.
Brief example, I think of John Lennon. As one of the examples I would give of somebody before the tragic early taking of life, which is an interesting subject to consider, maybe why that happened. And it's happened to many others who actually had a voice for what actually was really going on, and what was important. And I'm just sharing, for me, I'm happy to die for sharing what matters.
Yeah.
Because back to your earlier question, I don't just want to write music that is, you know, nice and fluffy pink and, you know, everything else. I want to connect with blowing holes in societal conditioning.
Most definitely. The one thing that I always think about when this topic is brought up is the scene in the movie The Lion King, when Mufasa has Simba and they're looking over all the land where the light touches, and he has that realization of the world is so much bigger than me, and there's so many things here that I can do. There's the forbidden places where I shouldn't go, but I have the option to. But there's so much more as well. Now, what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
How am I able to serve the people of my kingdom? And that could be, you know, if you're the head of a workplace or the head of a household or the head of a friend group. How can you serve the people that you lead in order to live a fulfilling life? Some of the happiest people, most of the happiest people, are those who spend their days serving others. And what you're doing is by far it's a great service to yourself, to those involved, and to those who get to listen to you as well.
Yeah. Well, it has the potential, doesn't it? Creativity, music has the potential to reach a considerable number of people all at the same time.
Oh, it's a universal language, absolutely.
So I see that point of contact. You know, I spend a lot of time in Facebook, in Instagram, promoting music and sharing my creative energy. But I actually look at those, and I know we're not going to go off air for this, but they are small communities. They are small communities. I don't see Facebook as being the world. You know, it's a small community. It's a point of contact to reach the world.
Yeah.
But I feel, without sounding, it's not beyond myself in terms of ego, My desire, my mission, my vision, my legacy is to change the heartbeat of society through my music. And I'm not going to water it down, because that's how I feel. So that's what I want to do. So everything I do in life, every moment I spend, every note I touch, every word I write, every individual I connect with, write with, reach out to more with, is for that purpose. If I have a number one selling single, it's with the purpose of more. I've sat on beaches. I've enjoyed, sun-soaked holidays and things like that. That's not my driving force. I don't mind which car I drive. I'm not after that. I'm after influence, and helping, serving others to know we are part of one whole. When you bring it back to humanity, when you just bring it back to how we're born, how we die, everything in between is, we are human. That is who we are. Male, female, believe in God, don't believe in God, black, white, etc., 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 young, old.
Yeah.
These are external titles. That is not how we were born. That is not how we die. We are not born a belief. We are not born, into being separate, being divisive. That's societal conditioning. Societal conditioning wants to pull us apart. You live there, I live here. And who cares? We're gonna end up with the same eventuality, and it's a very innocent mindset, but I've never understood it, and I still don't. And I'm glad I don't, because it just, apart from, you can say greed, ambition, many other things, but we connect in humanity. It takes care of gender. If we just realize we are human, it takes care of absolutely everything.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Gonna give you two a chance. We've been just dominating this conversation. It's been absolutely splendid, though.
It's been a great conversation. I'm sitting here listening, and I'm laughing because Brett and I both keep unmuting, and then literally keep coming back, and just jumping into wanting to say something, but then we turn around and have to mute ourselves because Gavin has another good question. We've been thoroughly enjoying it. So absolutely, Ray. So with music, it not only inspires you, it keeps you going strong, it keeps you building you, but have you seen how much it influences others, and that inspires you to write songs? Have you seen how the difference you're making and what it's doing is really influencing others around you?
At times, yes. When I check in my inbox and I get a personal message that I wouldn't go into detail on because it's private, I value those moments very, very much. I'm a kind of person that, if somebody told me, this looks nice, it's a very precious gift, or somebody said, the way you wear your beard, Ray, it looks, that's gorgeous, yeah. And I know you feel that way as well, Brandon. So I'm kind of feeling that, the joint Beard Brothers together is really wonderful, and Brett as well. Sorry, Gavin.
It's okay. I had actually okay. I had a nice goatee with a mustache going for a little bit, but for work purposes, I had to shave it off. Unfortunately, I actually almost got Brandon to I got him to trim his beard. He kind of weaseled out of it a bit, but I beat him in a game of darts, and I got him to shave part of his beard off.
Wow. Yeah. Remind me never to play darts with you, yeah?
Oh, the funny thing is, the funniest thing is Brandon's damn near a professional dart player. I play maybe once a year. I'm just extremely lucky.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, well done. Remind me definitely never to play darts with Brandon, yeah? But
I lost Gavin though.
Yeah.
I had a big beard. And I had to trim it way down because of the fact that a lot of people were making jokes about it and how big my beard was getting, and they're like, "You need to trim it. You need to trim it." So I played Gavin in a game, And I not only trimmed it, he wanted me to shave it off, and I was like, "That's not happening. I'll trim it, but it's gonna at least have a little bit there still."
Well, you all look, for what it's worth to you, you all look incredibly beautiful.
Thank you. So do you, Ray.
Thank you.
That's all right. Thank you
You
very
really-
much. Thank you. So
I am curious, where does that necklace come from? Because that was the first thing that I noticed when you came on. Was first thing I always notice when I meet somebody is their eyes, and then I notice any sort of hair, whether it's facial or on their head, and then I notice accessories. And so I noticed your eyes, I noticed your beard, and then I noticed your necklace there. Where does that come from? It's very aesthetically pleasing. It fits you.
It's actually from my very good friend Rayanne. She has a very good friend who I've never met before, but I know through Facebook, called Sanjay. And he has a business which is, you obviously can open the locket and put in essential oils of various types. And it's actually a tree of life. It's actually a tree of life, which fits in with the album Garden of Life. And
that's brilliant.
Sent it to me all the way from US. We've never met physically. We've done lots of video calls, and we're creating music together, but it's actually from her. And of course, because it's the energy around the neck as well. So for me, it's a very, very precious, special energy here. But I wanted just to quickly make a point that I was touching on earlier. I take criticism, I wear criticism more than I do compliments.
Yeah.
That's just part of my nature. So when people say positive things, it's not that I kind of, I deflect it off, but I find it a little bit more of a challenge than I always have. And I love it. Everybody does. So when people are saying what you're doing is really affecting, it's influencing, it's making a difference to me. Please don't let what I'm saying make anybody stop, because I love it. But I think I feel full. And I think we all should feel full as a human being, wherever we are, whatever point in life we are. But I know there's more. And again, I go back to that. For me, at times, is the challenge. I've never been particularly patient in my life. I'm patient with other people. But I'm not patient with my circumstances, because I just have such strong desire. And actually, funny enough, genuinely, in this interview, I'm letting it out more than I normally do. At times, I tend to kind of just hold back a little bit in the energy of the desire I have. Very English thing to do. Completely English thing to do. I need to get over soon, really do, for so many reasons, because I know, like many parts of the world, it's not perfect, but the energy of, success. I want to be successful to make a difference for as many as I can. So therefore, I know there's more. So when people are, you're helping, that's fine. But I want to expand that, and I want to extend that to as many as I can. I actually want to, just a side subject, to work with young upcoming songwriters, musicians, because I see, of course, there is greater longevity there potentially, and greater, future life. So that's another thing I want to do, because I feel I've got a coaching and mentoring background as well. I want to get with people like that to connect and create a very, very broader message. So as many people as I can create with, as much as I can, wherever I can. That's basically what I want to do.
I love that. That's absolutely beautiful. It really is. And the thing that I caught there at the end, that I think is a very, very human thing to want to do, but also very, very noble thing to want to do, is passing on sort of your legacy and your knowledge. That wanting to have understudies, wanting to have people that you can hand down the knowledge that you've acquired over the years. I think that's very noble of you.
Thank you.
So, Ray, there's a question. I'm stealing it because you're just going to keep talking. Otherwise,
keep going. Yeah,
we literally are making faces at Gavin.
I see. That's fine. Make all the faces you want.
Brandon, it's like a video game of noughts and crosses that I'm feeling coming on here now. It's kind of like I'm seeing the faces between us. Like check off 0.
You see us like talking and go back and forth, and then we unmute and we look at Gavin like, "Come on, buddy, shut up. We want to ask a question. We understand. This is a good topic for him in particular."
It is.
We were asked a question, and then I'll let Gavin jump back in. What is your purpose statement? He's sorry if he missed it, but I think that honestly, it's worth hearing what your purpose is again.
Well, there's a couple, but I would say probably to put it in a few words is to inspire others to find their own voice by connecting in creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So I can do that on a number of different ways. By doing what I'm doing. I shared a Facebook post the other day about when we are remarkable, when we are, and when we support those who are remarkable, we prove that remarkable is achievable. So again, I'm coming from a more mindset, not from a less mindset. If I water myself down, which I have and I do, if I become less me, then how am I actually going to encourage others to become more them? So I do that through the means that I use. So through creativity, I'm amplifying. You can do it. 100% you can. If I can, you can. 100%. Yeah. Just the point of actually, I'd never released music in the past. I've released music. I've done that. I've collaborated with others. I've had songs used in programs. I'm looking for more. It's not success in the point of view of, I've got to the end of achievement. Nowhere near. Not even anywhere close. But it's creating a voice. It's using your voice, your own unique voice. The amount of people that say, "Oh, I don't like the sound of my voice." Guess what? So did David Bowie. David Bowie said effectively, almost word for word, "I'm not particularly fond of the sound of my own voice." He's quoted as saying that. Wow. So we can all feel that way at times, because especially when we hear a recorded version of ourselves, we think, "Oh my goodness me, is that me?" Well, we're hearing ourselves different to how we sound in our head. So we must not stop sharing our voice. In society, I wonder if I should say, life is about choice. And if we have things imposed on us just because we feel that's what we should do because that's what everybody else is doing, what's the point in being human? Where's choice gone? So we must speak up and speak out on our behalf and on behalf of others. So really, that's my vision through everything I do is, yes, of course, I'm going to share my voice, but I'm going to encourage others to not only share theirs, but to amplify it as well.
Yeah. Wow.
I love that. You've really kind of gone from, and this I've said to a few other people that have had, cancer, serious illness, and that is, you're not a cancer survivor, you're a thriver because of cancer. It really enabled you to now shine through, and this is all in perspective. Your perspective of what has happened to yourself, and then being able to bring that out in what your belief is and shine that on others. And I think that you've just done an amazing job of being able to take that concept of, so many people are, I survived cancer, but in fact you can thrive because of it when you really take that message in a different direction.
Completely, Brett. Thank you. It's a phase. I used it until recently. Hashtags in Instagram, Twitter. Hashtag cancer survivor.
Yeah.
I've used it. But of course, that's a phase. That's a chapter you go through. And then I realized we are all survivors. We are all survivors. You have survived. Brandon survived. Gavin survived. Others listening here, the audience, have survived something. Survival is a phase you go through, but it's not at the end. you then become an overcomer, a conqueror, a warrior, a victor. So I now use the term, which I have to use with hand on heart, because I've lost loved ones, and I know, friends have lost loved ones to cancer. But cancer warrior, we must celebrate success in whatever form it is. I consider myself extremely lucky. I've known many people who have to speak through an electric larynx as a result of the cancer that I had. So they have an electric voice box they have to press to speak. That could have been my possibility. I had to sign consent forms to say, I will not sue the hospital for et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So sometimes now another challenge is I like to talk. I like to communicate. Of course, I like to listen too. Why am I? I do a live Wednesdays every Wednesday now, and I call it Wow. Wednesdays One World, WOW, Wednesdays One World. And my aim is to go live absolutely everywhere I can go live. So multiple Facebook platforms, Instagram. Now I found out you can stream through Twitter, and I'm sure there are many, many other social media platforms, because I want to create some form of content message where I can connect with others. And again, if we just survive, so we're just getting through, we've got to get through. People have got to get through. But when they get the other side, the strength of individuals who get through so many different things, and then they use that as their superpower to help others. And I know many who do that, even supporting recovering people from child trafficking, human trafficking. They use their experience to prevent this abomination. And that is where I really, really feel as humanity, we join. We must join in the commonality of disease, whatever it is, because that matters more than anything else. It matters more than whether we believe or disbelieve. What do we share in common? And I think surviving can help you to reach that point. I can say this for me, I can't say it for others. I'm grateful for what I went through, because it's brought me to where I am now, and I intend to harness that energy continually to create power for others.
Absolutely wonderful. We are coming up at the end of the episode here. I'm going to give us a little bit of extra time just because I feel like everybody's going to have a lot to say here. And since I have talked so much during the show, I am going to go ahead and let Brandon go first, followed by Brett, myself, and then you as the guest. We'll go last and see how we all do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the way we like to wrap up the show here is we give just some sort of positive or motivational message that has to it ties in. I like to tie it in with the episode. You don't have to, but just something, final word to send people off with.
Cool. Yeah. No problem.
Apparently, I'm going first this time. I was quiet this episode, but Ray, I never am quiet. I was fascinated by what you were saying, fascinated by what you were doing. I love your energy. You brought such positivity and such a good way of taking a negative and turning it into a positive. So first off, thank you, Ray. Second, sometimes in life, it's Monday. It's Mental Health Monday. Sometimes in life, you're going to get people who are just daggers in your life. They're people that are just going to bring you down. And the thing is, when you're trying to build your best you, there's those people that see you have something in you and they just want to take it from you. They want to bring you down to their level. And the truth is, I love every single person in this group, every single person in this chat for wanting to bring out the best in themselves and not wanting to let others influence their lives. So do yourself a favor today. Take a moment for your own mental health and focus on you. Focus on loving yourself and putting your best foot forwards, because the truth is, There's no one else going to do it for you.
Wonderfully said.
For me, I think it's really voice. I mean, it was interesting. Even before the show, I was thinking that I was going to talk about the voice. I hadn't even read your bio, and I was thinking about voice, and it just ties into this. But it's really about, the power of the voice, the power of being able to create a legacy based on who you are, but people have to get to know who you are, and there's only one way that they really can get to understand it. Yeah, they can observe you, they can get the actions, and the actions need to be congruent with what you say, but your voice is what enables you to really start to connect with people at a much deeper level, and to be able to continue to use that. And that if you choose not to use your voice, your body may also do something that will prevent you from using your voice and then that's what may trigger you to be able to build that legacy, to build that, and remember that voice lasts longer than your life. How you touch people today, how you connect with people while you're alive, lives far beyond what we do in person. And that is what I consider to be life everlasting. How we connect, how we use our voice to help others, and that helps others from now until infinitum.
Brilliant.
Beautiful.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'd like to repeat that I said earlier, the only way to truly begin to live is to die before you die. This happens through either extremely traumatic or extremely glorious events in your life. Whether it is something like having cancer and living with it and coming through it, or something like doing an impossible task. One of the things that we talk a lot about here is space, is going to space and the exploration of it. You've never heard an astronaut go up to space, look at the world, and see our sweet, almost insignificant little sand in the universe, and then come back down that wasn't completely humbled. So you have to, in a sense, die before you die. However, that's not very easy to do, and I really wouldn't recommend you go out and try to do it, at least not try in the traumatic way. I definitely encourage everybody to strive for the impossible. But just hearing that and just acknowledging that sort of philosophy makes it a little bit easier to grasp. You can't quite fully grasp what it means until you've experienced it, but you can grasp the concept of it. Basically, you don't know what you have until it's gone. And there's so much in life. There's so many amazing things that we don't even realize on a day-to-day basis. Things like being able to speak, being able to hear, being able to see. Your taste. I had COVID earlier this year, and it was extremely mild for me. I had a headache and the sniffles. But I lost my taste for 3 days, and I loved to cook, and that was such a big thing that I didn't realize. I didn't realize how important that was to me until it was taken from me, and I was so grateful when I finally had it back. So just take a moment. This is my challenge for everybody today. Take a moment, take 1, 5, 10 minutes, however long you see fit, and just write down little things that you're capable of doing that you don't even realize you're grateful for.
Beautiful. This is stunning. So wonderful. So wonderful. I think my message is be more you. Be more you to get others through. Because by being less you, you are not in a position to serve others to your fullest capability. In pain, there is power. And through pain, there is power. So sometimes when you feel weak, that is when you are at your strongest point. because in the future, that strength will serve not only you well, but it will serve others well too. We live in a world where at times, again, media makes us and others feel inconsequential. There is no lack of consequence in life. There is no lack of being in life. Be, and be more you, because then you're able to help others, and so am I too.
Absolutely wonderful. I want to thank everybody so much for being here today. I really want to thank Ray for being such an amazing guest and having this conversation with me. I want to thank you two for listening in.
I got to be a pretty face in the background for once. I'm not used to this.
I like to thank you two for sitting in with us.
Does it mean I get to come back and talk to the others? Is that how it works now?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'll take a holiday.
And it'd be great to connect with you as well. You know, I'm all over social media, so please, you know, you guys.
I was going to say, you two need to connect. Gavin is a musician, but he has like this old soul in him that when he sings, you can feel like the 1940s coming out. And I use that as a good example, but I don't know what that would sound like. Is that a marching band hat behind you? We have two questions I feel that you answered really quick, Gavin. What is your tattoo?
So I have many tattoos, but the one he's referring to is the anti-possession symbol on my shoulder here. I found it originally from a TV show. I was a big fan of Supernatural, but the reason why I got it is because it is an anti-possession symbol, and I like the philosophy and the thought behind it that every decision that I make in the end is ultimately my choice. Somebody could have a gun to my head and say, "Tell me the password to your phone," and even though they have that there, whether I give that to them or not is still my choice in the end. It's my way of doing my best to try to take responsibility for my actions.
Wow. Very well
Fantastic.
said. Very well.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then the last one was, is that a marching band hat behind you? It may be, but you're just going to have to tune in tomorrow and find out the answers. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in.
Why couldn't I do that?
I wanted to be the one to hit the button. Ray, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Everybody, go give us a like, share, love. Do us a favor. Spread positivity, not negativity. If you see negativity being thrown your way, turn it around. Just walk the other way. It's easier to turn the other cheek than to deal with people who don't know how to handle their own emotions. So do yourself that favor. Spread love and positivity, people.